You ever have one of those days that feels like it's going to be quiet, maybe even boring? That was me. Noon in Cedarville. The sun was soft, golden, just the right kind of lazy. Kids were laughing over by the park swings, old neighbors waved like they always did, and I was just heading home after a long shift at the hospital, thinking maybe I'd grab a coffee or crash for a quick nap. Nothing wild. Then boom, like God himself slammed a door shut. The ground shook, windows rattled, birds scattered like they knew what was coming before we did. I turned just in time to see this massive column of black smoke curling into the sky like a monster waking up. It was the Harrisons' place, big, beautiful, always a little too perfect for a town like ours, and it was on fire. People froze. I mean, literally stopped in their tracks. Some screamed, some just stared. Then I heard it, someone yelled, "There's a child in there." That's when everything in me shifted. I wasn't thinking, I was moving. I knew the Harrisons. Everyone did. Good folks. Their daughter? Sweetest little thing used to wave at me from their front gate like clockwork. And now she was inside that inferno. The yard was chaos, neighbors yelling, backing away from the heat. Then a car screeched in. It was the Harrisons' missus. Harrison dropped to her knees screaming, "My baby!" She's still in there. I didn't think. I locked eyes with her and ran. Fire roaring, smoke clawing at my lungs, I pushed through the crowd and found a side door cracked open. Inside was hell. Walls moaning, floors spitting sparks. I called out nothing. Then a faint whimper. I followed it, half crawling, until I spotted her under a table, curled up like a little cat. "I've got you," I whispered, wrapping her in my jacket. She was shaking so hard I thought she'd vanish. We turned to leave, but the way back was flames now. I found another route, kicked open a window, and passed her through to waiting hands before climbing out myself. My knees gave out the second I hit the grass. Then everything exploded, cheers, sobs, her parents clinging to her like she'd been born again. I just sat there coughing, soot in my teeth, my body shaking from adrenaline. The fire still raged, but that little girl was safe. That's all I cared about. The town changed that day. I mean it. One moment, we were just another sleepy place with pie contests and church bells. The next, people were hugging strangers, lighting candles in the square. News spread fast, videos popped up online, calling me a hero. Local nurse saved child from blaze. Some folks even called me an angel. By nightfall, the town square looked like Christmas came early. Lights strung up, cocoa passed around, flowers laid like it was a memorial. But it wasn't grief. It was gratitude. I was still in my hospital scrubs, sitting on the steps of the library with a borrowed cup of tea, just trying to process what the hell had happened. Folks came up to me, some hugged me, others cried. One woman bowed, hands pressed like I was holy. The mayor came late, took my hand, knelt beside me, and said, "You didn't just save a child. You reminded us what courage looks like." I didn't know what to say. I just done what I had to do. Then came the next wave. A coffee shop offered free drinks in my name. A GoFundMe popped up for Maria, Cedarville's hero. At first, it was $20 here, $100 there. Then 5,000. Then 50,000. Local businesses pitched in. Kids drew pictures of me in capes. I laughed, cried, sometimes both in the same breath. But the wildest part? That came later. The Harrisons showed up at my door. Not for photo op, not for the cameras, just them, their daughter Lily, and a small envelope. Mrs. Harrison hugged me like I was family, and Mr. Harrison looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You didn't just save our daughter. You saved us." Inside that envelope, a bank letter confirmation of a $20 million transfer. I thought it was a mistake. I said no. I said, "I can't accept this." But Mrs. Harrison took my hands and said, "You can. Because you didn't ask. You just acted." I cried harder than I ever have. Not because of the money, but because someone saw me, or allies saw me. All the years I spent quietly saving lives behind hospital curtains, all the hours no one noticed. Suddenly, they mattered. That night, I sat on my balcony with the envelope in my lap, stars above me, the whole world quiet. I thought about what to do. Not how to spend it, but how to honor it. By morning, I had a plan. I started writing in a plain notebook first entry. start a foundation for burn survivors. Not a charity, a movement, a place for real healing. Therapy, job training, reconstructive help, whatever people needed to feel whole again. I called it the Emberlight Initiative. Born from fire but focused on what comes after. 6 months later, we opened our first center. No press, no ribbon cutting, just survivors, families, nurses, firefighters, and Lily, holding tiny golden scissors in her hand. I told the crowd, healing isn't just possible, it's deserved. We opened 5 centers that year. I spoke at schools, not about fire safety, but about choosing to act. I told the kids, you don't have to run into flames to be brave. You just have to care enough to do something. Maria the nurse became Maria the advocate, Maria the voice. But to me, I was still just Maria the woman who showed up. I kept my old apartment, drove a better car maybe, but I never let the money define me. It was never about that. What changed wasn't my bank account, it was how I saw myself. I had always believed I was meant to help, but I never imagined people would want to follow me. That my one moment of instinct could ripple outward and touch lives I'd never meet. A year after the fire, the town erected a small statue near the park, oak tree, 2 bronze hands, one reaching up, one reaching down. The plaque read, "In honor of those who act with courage before being asked." I stood in the crowd that day. Didn't say much. Just watch kids play, neighbors sip coffee, folks laugh again. My phone buzzed a shelter 2 towns over asking, would you visit? Our survivors asked for you by name. I texted back, of course. I'll bring lunch. I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I know this. The woman who ran into that burning house didn't do it for praise. She did it because someone had to. And now, I just keep showing up. Again and again. So, what would you have done in Maria's shoes? Would you have run in or watched from the street? Do you think the Harrisons did the right thing? Let us know in the comments, because sometimes stories like this aren't just meant to be heard. They're meant to be talked about.